Welcome to this short presentation on the biblical worldview on abortion. Every year, in the whole world, we have about 25 million cases of abortions. In the US alone, we have 3,600 abortions taking place every day. That translates to a total of 1.3 million abortions in the US alone. First of all, I will delve into the discussion, looking at the debate, the pro-choice movement against the pro-life movement, and then now I'll come back and give my own biblical worldview of how God perceives abortion, how God considers the abortionist, and the judgment that awaits everyone who takes innocent life out of this world. Looking at the pro-choice movement, this wing of the debate supports abortion. Actually, they give three options for people who have unintended pregnancies. They will either suggest an abortion, or parenthood, or adoption. They can tell you you can take the child that you don't want to keep to an adoption center or something like that. The National Abortion Federation is the one which is vocal in this area of the pro-choice movement. There are other many bodies or lobbyists that are calling for abortion to be legalized or abortion to be accepted in society. I've put a photo there which shows the irony of the whole situation. In medical science, actually, it is claimed that during pregnancy, if the mother suffers from any organ damage, the child in the womb sends stem cells to repair the damaged organ from their mother. So the child actually wants you to live, and then you are here making a decision that you don't want them to live, or you want to terminate them before their time. The other wing of this debate is the pro-life movement, and the Pennsylvania Pro-Life Federation is in the forefront on this side of the debate, claiming that human life and personhood begins at conception. So when conception takes place, they consider that the fetus is a human being. And they are the one who have given us these statistics that we have nearly 1 million abortions in the US alone. The World Health Organization gives the statistics that there are 25 million, as I've already talked about in the introduction, of abortions worldwide. The preborn children undergoing abortion suffer painful and excruciating deaths. So anyone who does this, they should always bear in mind that as much as the child is not crying that you can hear it, they suffer a lot of pain. The pro-life movement is fronting for their right to life. They are the anti-abortionists. They support legal prohibition of abortion on any moral or sectarian grounds. I have put a photo there also showing that the child is saying, I have a detectable brainwave, I can feel pain. When the child is in the stomach, the unborn child feels a lot of pain. So let's all consider that. Before anyone considers that they want to terminate anyone's life, they should know that they are terminating someone's life. And it is painful. Now to the biblical worldview of a person before conception. In Psalms 139, there is a passage there in the Bible, and the psalmist is saying that while my body members are being formed in my mother's womb, God is watching over every single part as they develop. When the hand is developing, when the head is coming up, when the brain is coming into place, God himself is watching over that child as every part of their body develops. So while the abortionists are considering that this is not a human being, we can terminate them however we want, God has a different view from the abortionists themselves. God cares for the unborn child. God has a purpose for the unborn child. There is a passage that is in Jeremiah 1:5, when God was having the conversation with Jeremiah, and he told him, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I had already ordained you a prophet. So while the abortionists are considering that we can terminate this unwanted pregnancy, or I don't need to keep this child, it is an inconvenience to my career, God has a plan and a purpose for that child. There's another passage in the book of Judges 13, when God visited the wife of Manoah and held the conversation. It is a whole chapter. And later on, Manoah joins in the conversation, and God is telling them how the child that is going to be born has to be taken care of. He's telling the wife, don't drink any alcoholic drinks. You have to, don't take any unclean foods, because the child that is going to be born is going to be a deliverer for Israel from the oppression of the Philistines. God was talking about a child that has not even existed, giving a mandate about that child. We have no right whatsoever to terminate anybody's life, because God himself has a clear plan, a clear roadmap for every single child that is being conceived in any woman's womb. God has a clear plan for their life, a clear mandate, a clear purpose for them when they come into this life. Every life counts. I have already talked about the unborn feeling pain. Every abortion victim is crying to God. They are crying for their blood. They are crying for the injustice that is done upon them. Every legal act that is passed worldwide that is against the life of an unborn child, every person behind that law, every person supporting that law will have to answer one day to God for the pain, for the anguish that they cause to these children which are yet unborn, who have not done anything good or bad, but yet somebody is deciding whether they will live or not. Every person is going to face judgment, and every murderer is going to face judgment for that matter. God will judge the abortionist, as I've already said. In Proverbs 28:17, God wrath awaits anyone who does violence to the blood of any person, and that includes every abortionist. All murderers have their destiny in the lake of fire. That is in Revelation 21:8. Now, before I come to the conclusion, I have already given a view from the pro-choice, who regard that we can do away with any pregnancy however much we want. And I've also given the other side of the debate is the pro-life, who supports in one way or the other, they support the biblical worldview that every life counts and every life matters. We are not allowed to terminate anybody's life. I'll welcome any questions before the end of this presentation. If there is any question, you can raise up your hand. Any question? No question. But there is a question that I get to find in any time I make this kind of presentation. Somebody will ask me, what about the situation whereby the mother's life is in danger? You are in the hospital, and for some reason during labor the doctor decides, or during their tests, that the mother's life is in danger, and they have to operate them to remove the child. And that one means now the child will die. What happened in that situation? It's a very difficult answer to give. In the Bible, it happens one time when the midwife was attending to the wife of Joseph, that is Rachel. There's a passage in the book of Genesis. And Rachel died and the child lived. So it is always a very difficult call to make. The doctor has to be absolutely sure that whatever they are doing really has to be done, because you can end up doing the operation and both the child and the mother dies. You can end up doing the operation in another form and the mother lives and the child will not live. You can do the operation and the mother dies and the child lives. So it is a very delicate balance. I always tell people, it has never happened in the Bible worldview. When Rachel was in that situation, she was ready to deliver, she died, and Benjamin was born, and now we have a tribe in Israel called Benjamin. If the midwife decided to do otherwise, I don't know how the story will have been, but what I'm saying is this: every single life counts. We have no choice, we have no reason, we have no moral authority to terminate anybody's life thinking that it is an inconvenience to my career or an inconvenience to my big family or anything of that sort. The pro-choice are making their decision that they can terminate pregnancies. The pro-life, on the other hand, are advocating for the right to live, the right to life of every child. But at the end of the day, judgment awaits everyone or anyone who makes a decision on anybody's life. We have no moral authority whatsoever to terminate anybody's life. And that brings me to the end of this presentation. I have reference from the Pennsylvania Pro-Life Federation. I also have references from the National Abortion Federation, and I have other references from the World Health Organization and the UN. UN actually is pushing for abortion in Africa. I have all this in the presentation. I'm going to give you these slides at the end of this presentation. With that closing remark, let's keep in mind, if you know anyone who wants to abort or to terminate a pregnancy, talk to them, guide them, warn them of the repercussions of those kind of actions. God bless you all.